Hello, everyone. My name is Bria Harris, and I am a graduate student at the University of North Carolina, Greensboro, and studying to obtain my master's degree in library and information science with a concentration in school librarianship. So this fall, I am taking a materials for adolescents class by reading different genres of young adult literature written by good authors. I have read three interesting and powerful novels about survival of sexual assault. The novels I have read, I have read three interesting and powerful novels that were about sexual assault. It's called Grown, and I have read Shout Shout by Lori Halsey Anderson, and I'm sorry, Grown is by Tiffany Jackson, and I've read The Opposite of Innocence by Sonia Sones. So each novel tells a story about a young adolescent female who falls in love with men who make them feel like grown women. But then the love story turns into a nightmare. So every teenage girl dreams about finding true love and living the fairy tale. What happens when that wish comes true and it's not everything we hope for? So grown, shout, shout, and the opposite of innocent will tell stories of three young females who were brave to tell their story of how the men they fell in love with who became their worst nightmare and how young and innocent they were believing it was their fault for not making their supposed lovers happy. So let's start off with Tiffany D. Jackson's Grown. So Grown tells the story of a 17-year-old African-American teen named Enchanted Jones who has fantasies about becoming an R&B singer in her life. The opening novel states that Corey Fields is dead. Wow, does that mean is it going to be a mystery? So the novel begins with Enchanted Jones being a normal adolescent girl who loves her family and gets good grades, and is part of the African American Youth Organization. So Enchanted attends an audition for a competition to be the next talent star. And there she meets 28-year-old Corey Fields, who is a famous R&B artist, and he will do anything to make Enchanted famous. So Enchanted began getting close to Corey Fields, even falling in love with him to begin her career as a music artist. So everything starts to go smoothly until Corey starts getting too possessive of Enchanted by keeping her away from her friends and family. So Enchanted starts to wonder if she made the right decision by leaving school to go on tour with Corey to pursue her musical career, right? So throughout the novel, the story takes a turn into a murder mystery. The novel contains some mystery content because it revolves around a murder of who killed Corey Fields. So I would recommend this novel to my high schoolers if they are interested in learning about how famous singers can sometimes take advantage of, of young of, of young talented women and being a survivor of sexual assault. So to read briefly from the book here, from the introduction, I'm so sorry. So here it is. It's not the beet juice or my position on the floor that unnerves me. It's the silence. So no music, no television, no voices. Damn, I'm a mess. And he's going to be so mad when he sees all these stains. The thought of his inevitable reaction produces more terror than the blood surrounding me. Sorry, not blood, beet juice. I step over Melissa, cast aside like a dead dog, wrapping my arms around myself. Were my shoes? I didn't walk in here barefoot. Wait, why am I still here? Didn't I leave last night? A bloody handprint glides across the wall towards the bedroom, the door wide open. Corey is slumped face down, hanging off the bed, body covered in beet juice. Flaming words are stuck in my esophagus, but my body is frozen, rooted to the floor. If I move, if he catches me, he'll kill me. 3 pounds on the front door, a voice booms, police, open up. Pistol runs down my leg, soaking my sock. So if you want to read Grown with the to learn more about like the chance of survival of sexual assault and about a little murder mystery, I would recommend this novel, and because I feel this will This will help you give good clarification, and is similar to the Kelly story. So the next novel I'm going to talk about is the novel Shout by Laurie Halsey Anderson, which tells the story of a revolving author's life and the story of her sexual assault. I would recommend this book for my adolescent survivors of sexual assault because Laurie Halsey Anderson is an advocate for women who are sexual assault survivors, and she got them to heal from their pain. The quote Shout is a true story of a survivor who refused to be silent and explains how Anderson told her story about her life and being a victim and why she wrote this novel to give women this opportunity to have the voice to speak out. So Anderson wrote the novel Speak, which tells the story of a 15-year-old girl named Melinda Sardino, who was raped one night at a party, but refuses to tell anybody what happens to her. If any readers are interested in reading Shout, I would prefer my teens to read Speak. First, because that is a prequel to Shout. While reading the memoir, the author speaks about her family, of how her mother and her father are having marital problems during her early years. She even gives a description of her high school years and how she got an opportunity to go to college out of the country. Shout could be a novel to help boost self-esteem and realizing you don't have to be a victim all your life. So to read some quotes and some books from the introduction to Shout is finding my courage to speak up 25 years after I was raped, writing Speak, and talking with countless of survivors of sexual violence made me who I am today. This book shows how that happened. It is filled with accidents, serendipities, bloodlines, tidal waves, sunrises, disasters, passport stamps, criminals, cafeterias, nightmares, fever dreams, readers, portents, and whispers that have shaped me so far. My father wrote poetry too. He gave me these guidelines. We must be gentle with the living, but the dead own their truth and are fearless. So I have written honestly about the challenges my parents faced and how their struggles affected me. The poems that reference people other than me or my family are truth told slate. I've meddled specific details to protect the identities of survivors. This is the story of a girl who lost her voice and wrote herself a new one. So if you're interested, if you're a sexual assault victim yourself, or if you know anyone who's been sexually assaulted, if you want to learn more, I would recommend reading Shout by Laurie Halsey Anderson and her prequel book to Shout Speak. I think you will find it very very great, and you will learn more about how to become your own survivor. So the last book I'm going to talk to you about is called The Opposite of Innocence by Sonia Sones, which tells a poetic story of a 14-year-old teen named Lily, who is about to start her freshman year of high school. So Lily's parents finds out her longtime friend, Luke, whom Lily has had a crush on all her life, is coming back from Australia to stay with them for a while. So Lily admits to Luke, unfortunately, Luke feels the same way she does, except Luke is a 29-year-old man who is predatory. So Lily is a starstruck teen dating the man of her dreams, but her dreams become very cautious of her when she tells them she is seeing an older, but when she tells her friends she is seeing an older guy. Lily feels everything between Luke and her are going well until Luke pressures her into having sexual relations. Lily, of course, is very uncomfortable, but she does not want Luke to be disappointed in her. So Lily starts to feel uncomfortable with Luke, and she does not know who to turn to for help, because she takes the blame for herself and feels it is all her fault. So reading a poetry memoir such as The Opposite of Innocence will have readers thinking if they know anyone, whether it's a friend or a family member who is a victim of any sexual abuse or assault, and feel they have no one to turn to and they blame themselves, it is a lie, because it is never your fault. So it is never your fault. I would recommend this book for adolescents if he or she wants to learn more about knowing what to do if any victims who are sexually assaulted, or if they were victims themselves and feel they need support since they're afraid to go to their parents. So the title of this is For All the Lilies. And to read the back of this is, my name is Lily. This book is about me. I've been in love with my parents' friend's Luke forever. He used to promise me he'd wait for me to grow up, but I didn't know he actually meant it. So I would recommend The Opposite of Innocence. If you, like you said, if you know anybody who's been sexually assaulted, or if you are a victim yourself, been sexually assaulted, if you want to find closure, I would recommend reading this book to give you an insight for how that person feels. So reading novels such as Grown, Shout, and The Opposite of Innocence have one major common theme. It is never your fault. And no one deserves to have their innocence taken away from them at such a young age, even if we want older adults to treat us like grown-ups. It is wrong for older adults to take advantage of young teenagers, even if they reach the age of consent. Whether someone is male or female, being sexually assaulted by a classmate, teacher, or stranger is never good. It's never good. And if you feel if you cannot tell someone because you will get in trouble, don't believe that. It is towards the end of each book, there are hotline numbers for sexual assault victims and rape crisis counselor if you know anyone who is a victim of sexual assault. Our adolescent years are about exploring ourselves emotionally, sexually, and physically, and about who we want to be in life. We all hope to fall in love with during our adolescent years, but hopefully someone who is the same age as us. It is important for us not to grow up too fast and to enjoy our teenage years when we can, because we live only once. It's okay for adolescents to have minor crushes on older adults, but it's not okay to get romantically involved with them if they're still minors. As adults, we should wait until a teenager's 18th birthday to be romantically involved with them. And getting involved with an underage teenager could lead to legal consequences and a bad reputation. No male or female should blame themselves for any sexual assault case. Remember, the moral of the story is it is not your fault. So reading this book will give you a good input that it is never your fault, or it's not your fault if you or you know somebody is a victim of sexual assault. Always tell a trusted adult or somebody you know you trust to help you heal from this process. Well, thank you so much for joining my book talk, and I hope you will recommend, and of course, to all my young adult readers, I will recommend these books to you, and I hope you will find good closure and support from them. Bye. Thank you.